Welcome to NFL Nexus. Today, we're diving deep into the absolute core of what it takes to build a champion in the NFL. We're talking about a two-front war, a battle between paying for today's stars and drafting tomorrow's. And we're going to use the Houston Texans as a real-time case study. We're going to get into all the little details, so get ready. Oh, and hey, before we jump in, if you like this kind of in-depth analysis, please take a second to subscribe and like this explainer. It really helps out. All right, let's get into it.
You know, building a Super Bowl team isn't just about collecting the most talented players. It's so much more complicated than that. It's this incredibly delicate, high-stakes balancing act. Think of it like a war being fought at the exact same time on two totally different but completely connected fronts. One of those battles happens in the GM's office with these gigantic, multi-million-dollar contracts. The other one, that's fought in the dark, in the film room, by scouts grinding away. And here's the kicker. If you mess up on one front, you're pretty much guaranteed to fail on the other. And this slide right here, man, it just lays out the fundamental dilemma perfectly. Every single general manager in the league wakes up thinking about this. On one side, you've got the price of startup. These are your big-name guys, your proven veterans. You pay them top-of-the-market money because you know exactly what they can do. Then, on the other side, you've got the promise of youth. Honestly, this is the lifeblood of any championship roster. These are your draft picks, guys on cheap 4-year rookie deals that give you insane potential at a bargain price. Today, we're going to see how the Houston Texans are trying to navigate this exact war. So here's our game plan. First up, we'll set the stage at the contenders' crossroads. Then, we'll dig into the Nico Collins conundrum to really see the price of stardom. From there, we'll flip the coin and look at scouting the future. After that, we'll put all the pieces together in the GM's roster puzzle. And finally, we'll look at Houston's path forward. All right, Section 1, Contenders Crossroads. So the Texans have done the hard part. They've rebuilt, they found their franchise quarterback, and now they're right on the edge of being truly great. But here's the thing. This is probably the most dangerous place for a team to be. This is where one bad contract, one busted first-round pick can slam that Super Bowl window shut before you even get a good look through it. The margin for error basically goes to zero. Yeah, this slide just captures the situation perfectly. The Texans have this incredible young core of talent. That's the dream, right? But with success comes a whole new set of problems. Suddenly, expectations aren't just let's make the playoffs anymore. No, it's Super Bowl or bust. And they have to do it in an absolutely brutal conference. This is where those financial decisions, that tightrope walk, become absolutely everything. It's the key to keeping that window propped open. Okay, let's roll into our second section here. This is where we look at that first front of the war, trying to manage the crazy price of stardom. And for this, we're going to zero in on the Nico Collins conundrum. He's a fantastic, crucial piece of their offense. But man, that price tag is something else. So let's just put the number out there. Just look at it. $27.8 million. That's what Nico Collins is projected to count against the Texans' salary cap in 2026. This is way more than just a big number. It's a statement. When a GM puts that much of the team's total budget on one guy, they're saying you are a cornerstone. We are building this thing around you. And a number that big, well, it comes with some absolutely massive expectations. Now, for anyone who's not a total salary cap nerd, let's just quickly break this down. A cap hit is basically just the slice of a player's total contract that counts against the team's spending limit for one particular year. And to really understand what that $27.8 million means, that's projected to be the fifth highest cap hit for any wide receiver in the entire league in 2026. He is literally being paid to be a top 5 player at his position. Full stop. So why'd they do it? Why make that massive investment? Well, because Nico Collins is a legitimate problem for defenses. He is that big, physical, go-up-and-get-it receiver who just bullies defensive backs. He can take the top off a defense, sure, but his specialty is making those insane contested catches in traffic, the ones that move the chains on 3rd and long or win you the game in the final 2 minutes. That's the player the Texans paid for. Okay, so we've established he's a really good football player, and we've established he's being paid like an all-time great one. So what's the problem here? Why is there even a debate? Why are some people throwing around the word overpaid? Well, this is where the whole conversation shifts from talent to production. From what a player can do to what he's actually doing on the field, especially when you weigh it against that giant contract. And the numbers from the 2025 season are really what's fueling this whole debate. Let's start with just 6 touchdowns. For a guy getting paid like a top 5 receiver, you're hoping for, maybe expecting double that.
But the number that really raises a red flag for scouts and analysts is that catch percentage, less than 60%. That means that for every 10 passes thrown his way, more than 4 of them hit the turf. Now, that could mean a lot of things, right? Is he having trouble getting separation? Are there issues with drops? Or is it because he's the go-to guy on all those low-probability jump balls? Whatever the reason, the truly elite top 5 guys find ways to be more efficient than that. And that's really the heart of the conundrum. And look, this isn't just me saying this. Experts are pointing to the exact same thing. Brad Gagnon over at Bleacher Report was super direct about it. He pointed to those same 2 stats, the 6 touchdowns, the sub 60% catch rate, and his conclusion was simple. They need more from him. It's just that simple. When you're making that kind of money, being good is no longer good enough. You have to be dominant. But, and you have to hear this part, this is so important. We need to add some serious context here. The very same analyst, Brad Gagnon, adds this critical piece of information. He basically says that even calling Collins overpaid is, and I quote, a bit of a reach. Why? Because GM Nick Caserio has been so good at his job that there aren't any other horrible contracts on the entire roster. So Collins only seems expensive when you compare him to an otherwise perfectly managed team. It's what you'd call a high-class problem, but it's a problem that still needs solving. And that right there brings us to the logical end of our look at the first front in this war. If you're tying up almost $30 million of your cap in one single receiver, how in the world do you build out the rest of the team? Where do you find the money for offensive linemen, for linebackers, for cornerbacks? Where does the affordable talent come from that you need to fill out a 53-man roster? Well, the answer, it comes from that other front. And that leads us perfectly into Section 3, Scouting the Future. This is all about that nonstop hunt for young, cheap, high-potential guys in the draft. So now we're going to shift our focus completely from a veteran on a huge contract to a college prospect who hasn't played it down yet, offensive guard Emmanuel Pregnon. So let's meet Emmanuel Pregnon. He's an offensive guard. He's a 4-year starter who's played at 3 different schools, so you know he's been through the wars. But the most important thing on this slide is that the Texans brought him in for a top 30 visit. Teams only get 30 of these visits for the entire draft class. An invite means they are seriously interested. This isn't just doing due diligence. This is them picturing him in their uniform. Okay, now for the fun stuff, the tail of the tape. The size is exactly what you want, 6'4", 314 pounds. But look at those athletic testing numbers. A 35-inch vertical jump? For a man that big, that is just ridiculous. That shows you explosive, raw power in his legs. That's what lets you stonewall a giant defensive tackle. And that 9'3" broad jump? That shows you the same explosion but moving forward. That's the power you need to move people in the run game. These aren't just good numbers, they're elite athletic traits. So how does he actually fit in with the Texans? Well, they're pretty set at guard for this season. Pregnon played mostly right guard in college. That means if the Texans draft him, they're probably going to ask him to switch over to the left side. And trust me, that's a much bigger adjustment than it sounds. It's like a right-handed person trying to write with their left hand. Your whole world is flipped. So the point is, he's not a plug-and-play week 1 starter. He is a long-term investment. He's a guy with a huge ceiling that they can develop for a year or two, and then hopefully he becomes a high-level starter on a cheap rookie contract. And this chart, man, it just shows why this all makes so much sense. It's the perfect marriage of player value and draft position. Pregnon is projected to go somewhere late in the first round or early in the second. Well, look where the Texans are picking, number 28 and number 38. They are sitting right in the sweet spot. They have 2 perfect chances to grab him without having to reach or trade up. It's a perfect scenario.
Okay, so we've looked at the war on 2 totally separate fronts, right? We've talked about the expensive star veteran and the cheap, high-potential rookie. Now, in Section 4, we put it all together. This is the GM's roster puzzle. This is where we show you how Nico Collins and Emmanuel Pregnon aren't 2 different stories. They are 2 sides of the exact same coin.
And this slide right here breaks down the entire philosophy. This is the circle of life for a modern NFL team. Step 1, you sign your star player to a huge extension. That's Nico Collins. Step 2, you immediately start feeling that salary cap pressure. So for step 3, you have to hit on your draft picks. You have to find those cost-controlled rookies. That's Emmanuel Pregnon. But step 3 is a total crapshoot. For every rookie that hits, a bunch of them bust. But if you get it right, and that rookie plays way better than a small contract suggests, you unlock step 5. You create roster flexibility. And that is what lets you keep a championship window open for years.
When you boil it all down, the whole strategy is this. Pay your stars, but win with your rookies. You need the stars, like Nico Collins, to be the foundation. But you absolutely need the rookies, the guys on cheap deals playing at a high level, to build the rest of the house around them. The value you get from that, getting Pro Bowl play for a third-round rookie salary, that's the magic formula for success in the NFL today.
And that brings us to our final section, Houston's path forward. We've seen the strategy, we've looked at the players. Now let's just talk about what this all means for the Texans' future. Because what they're trying to do, it's a total high-wire act. It is the single hardest thing to do in sports. Build a Super Bowl contender and then keep it at the top. So this is really the $10 million question, isn't it? Can they actually pull this off? Can their GM, Nick Caserio, keep walking this tightrope year after year? Can he perfectly balance the huge financial weight of stars like Nico Collins with the risky but essential promise of young guys like Emmanuel Pregnon? And can he keep doing it as his other young stars start to get expensive too? It's the ultimate challenge, and it's what separates good GMs from legendary ones. So I want to know what you think. Is that Nico Collins' contract just the cost of doing business for a contender? Or is it a potential landmine down the road? Can drafting well really make up for these massive veteran contracts? Get down in the comments and let me know your take. And hey, if you made it this far and enjoyed the breakdown, hitting that like and subscribe button for NFL Nexus would mean the world. And finally, a huge shout out to everyone who supports the channel by checking out our coloring books. The QR code is on the screen and the link is in the description. Thanks so much for watching.